Electrocast.
Experience a membership that backs what you're building with American Express Business Platinum. Unlock over $3,500 in business and travel value annually with statement credits on select purchases from brands like Dell, Hilton, and Adobe, and other benefits. American Express Business Platinum. There's nothing like it. Based on total potential value of statement credits on select purchases and other benefits, enrollments required, monthly and other limits and terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum.
This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Hold on to your butts.
We are changing the course of history as we see it. That is what Wesley demands.
Now this affects Iris. Iris, where are you?
What you feel only matters to you. I do not entertain hypotheticals. The world as it is vexing enough.
Iris, I have a tip for you.
Don't take drugs!
Or Whatever Movies with Wesley and Iris.
What up and welcome to Or Whatever Movies. I'm your co-host Iris and I'm here with my older brother,
Wesley.
Today we're talking a long-anticipated film, The Devil Wears Prada 2.
Okay, Iris, we're doing that thing again where we go back in time. Iris, what is The Devil Wears Prada 2 going to be about?
Oh, definitely Miranda goes full fashion model, but, you know, for like the older set.
She's
for like
the model?
Mature, yeah. You saw her in that red dress, right? And Andy and Emily Blunt become her handlers and her managers.
If you're going to remember one name, it's Emily.
And the Tooch is now the head of Runway magazine.
Oh, yeah? And obviously he would then cast Miranda or hire her for his first senior cover shoot, right?
Yeah, of course. It'll be like the silver edition.
Silver fox. Silver. What is a female fox? Just a fox, right?
No, there's a name for it.
So what function do Andy and Emily serve?
They're her handlers and her managers. Vixen.
Vixen. Okay,
Silver Vixen.
Good. What's going to be the drama?
Well, it's going to be all about ageism. And then Emily and Andy are going to see their own aging ahead of them and therefore are going to like turn against Miranda in rage against their own inevitable aging.
All right, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
So Emily goes from Runway to Jior and then to Coach. Is that a step up or a step down?
Dude, you are asking the wrong person. Additionally, I saw a thing on pronunciations in which a French person clearly was contemptuous of American pronunciations, and he declared that it's a single syllable, Jior.
Jior?
Yep.
Jior.
I have no idea. And I don't know if it's a step down, but I don't see the kids like fawning over Coach. Coach is just handbags, right?
What we're saying is that we are both inept at discussing the fashion of The Devil Wears Prada 2.
Yeah. But also, why would these brands, is all press good press or whatever, the Dior and then Coach, okay, but that's like her fallback? And why would TJ Maxx allow Nigel to rip on them for 2 movies across decades?
We should ask a legal expert because I don't think that trademark protection extends to just simply saying the name. Like that is probably protected under fair use. That being said, why can't people say the Super Bowl? No, I don't think that TJ Maxx allowed nor did they give permission to The Devil Wears Prada to use their name. You say that I'm asking the wrong person. Why do you say that?
I feel like I'm adequate to speak on The Devil Wears Prada 2 because I'm not in the fashion world. I'm not a slavish devotee to the first movie. I'm a fan of the first movie, but I'm removed enough so I can be like, okay, the sequel has to stand on its own, but it also obviously has to play into the first movie's strengths and its endurance as a classic.
Is The Devil Wears Prada 2 an event movie?
Absolutely. The filmmakers said that every year they're asked, are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? Just when was it going to happen? And they said that the crowd was crazy. Stanley Tucci said it was a nightmare. Anne Hathaway tried to be nice about it and was like, it was so vivacious and adoring fans. And he was like, yeah, it was a nightmare. People were everywhere and they don't care that we're making a movie. They want to be there and we're trying to do our job and they're all loud and stuff. Yes, it was an event movie. Our theater was completely full. Did you hear the outrage in your rich little community when Miranda was reduced to flying commercial? And then people were like, "Oh man, she's got to fly with the schlubs." And then she walked from first class to economy, and people went, "Oh!" There was like a discernible ripple through the audience of consternation.
So we saw this opening weekend. It was an Or Whatever Movies outing, and there were a number of mom groups there. Did you see the middle-aged women of 6 congregating afterward to talk about Andy's cerulean vest at the end?
Yeah, where she was the boss and wore the throwback cerulean vest. Yeah, I saw that part. I saw the ladies mostly because I had to find a way to walk around them in the hallway, the narrow hallways. And I'm pretty sure I heard the clinking of Chardonnay toasts to my left. Somebody called it a chic-wool, and this is the glitz and the glamour, and all the promotion has been about the fashion.
It's like a fashion parade. They do like 6 or 7 montages, scenes of just fashion, of them just entering into places and red carpets and step and repeats.
Was that the Lady Gaga Act 2?
Let's talk about the Lady Gaga performance. So Gaga herself, obviously a fashion icon. Her cameo, a little strange and gratuitous. Like all of a sudden this turned into like a concert movie? Eras tour style or something? What happened? What was that?
What are you talking about? This is the best Lady Gaga movie I've ever seen. What do you got? Give me a better Gaga movie.
A Star is Born. So,
is it?
But she wasn't acting in this, although I guess she was acting Gaga.
So we set it up that their relationship is kind of acrimonious, hers and Miranda's. She's like, no, I'm not going to contact her. She's a nightmare or something to that effect, right? And then appropriately, she played a nightmare of clashing personalities and then did her thing because that's kind of what it's about. It's catty, and then you show up for the fashion and for the I don't know. But I felt on the outside of it like this is weird. And I just attribute it to me being super old because when they were talking about this unknown entity that was going to really help Runway and that particular fashion show, did you assume that it was Gaga? Because I definitely didn't.
No, I didn't. And that was one of 2 instances in The Devil Wears Prada 2 where I felt we were behind. The audience was too behind the story. We were too behind on that event prep, and we were too behind on Andy and Emily's plan to what Andy thought was saving Miranda.
Interesting. So I agree with both of those sentiments. However, during the movie, I thought I was ahead. And so maybe my failing in matching the plot in my head was what made me feel behind because the revelation came after it was all done. Because when they started talking about this person and no, she's a nightmare, and then they played 2 consecutive Madonna songs, as far as I could tell, I was like, oh, it's totally Madonna. But Madonna she's old enough to not be at the forefront of fashion. 20 years ago, Madonna might have been a good get, Lady Gaga style.
20? Maybe 40.
I'm saying in the world of, Lady Gaga is 40 years old. Is she like the face of that fashion show? No, but she's Lady Gaga and she's established as iconic or whatever. I thought it was going to be Madonna because they played Vogue in 2006. They played it in the trailer for The Devil Wears Prada 2. They played her songs in the movie. I was like, oh, it's going to be Madonna. And then it wasn't. And then later, so confident was I that Miranda had a plan. I think it was good writing when Andy was like, you have a plan, right? Of course you have a plan. She knows. And Miranda said, go home. This does not concern you. It's none of your business. I was like, oh, she totally has a plan. But then she doesn't have a plan. And so I felt like that was behind.
I have a really hard time believing that Miranda Priestley was resigned to her fate.
But wasn't she? I mean, the orchestration of Lucy Liu, whatever her name was, to be the ultimate reveal, I feel like should have been the most telegraphed resolve. Oh, obviously, one of the richest women in the world. I got the Holy Grail. They had her in their back pocket the entire movie. And yet I was like, how are they going to get out of this? Oh, she's sinking. Emily is sinking. Oh, the betrayal or whatever. And then it happened and I was like, obviously, that's what I should have known all along. And I didn't. So I agree. I felt like I was behind.
I don't know what Miranda's plan was or if she had one, but it would seem out of character if she didn't, although it was kind of refreshing to see her fall in line with Andy and for them to basically hatch their own plan together. It was kind of a new guard moment for The Devil Wears Prada, too. And it was also kind of refreshing and modern that Andy neither had a partner nor did she necessarily need one, that this movie wasn't about Andy's quote-unquote failed love life, because it wasn't failed. She hadn't settled down. She loved her work. And then in terms of like the new guard coming in, I was really excited about Emily taking up the mantle as the new villain in the Devil Wears Prada franchise. Like they said in the movie, the villains are more interesting. And I think it was a missed opportunity to have Emily and Andy reconcile so easily. I mean, that was a pretty big betrayal. And how fun and delicious it would be for Emily to basically step into those shoes, so to speak.
Here's where I struggle because the likelihood of a Devil Wears Prada 3 seems pretty low. And while I do think that it was refreshing and I do think they took fairly big swings, but they couldn't let it spiral out of control where she was the red-eyed menace that Miranda purported to be, because even in The Devil Wears Prada, the original, we saw a softened Miranda. Then she kind of steeled her resolve when she pulled off the Jacqueline Runway America plan and was still bad enough that Andy could walk away and have her moment in their path divergence in life. Coming back, I worried that they were all going to be toned down. And so the extent to which they took the Emily character was surprising to me and refreshing. Maybe the reconcile was a little bit too much, but I don't know that we can expect her villainous role to blossom. She's just kind of been put in her place where she had grand designs and was going to head up Runway and is now like head of marketing or content at Jior. But she was also on Lake Como and like hanging out maybe above her station slightly with the ultra rich dude and stuff, and needed to be busted down a little bit, but not crushed. She wasn't like falling into a fiery chasm, kind of villain. It's all kind of business and strategizing, and it's not personal because they were all established to be cutthroat kind of from the beginning. And so I felt it was in keeping with this universe. Am I wrong in suggesting that maybe casting her as the outright villain, which Miranda never was, at least for fans, might have been too much given that there doesn't appear to be a sequel on the horizon?
I think a jilted, power-seeking climber like Emily could have realistically had a turn that could still be fun, because she was like double jilted by Miranda and team and by Benji, the ultra-rich guy. Played, of course, by Justin Theroux. Justin Theroux, yes. Tailor-made for these slimy roles. I don't feel like he ever recovered from American Psycho.
I knew him more as kind of the savior of Jennifer Aniston's hopes and dreams of wifehood and motherhood. It's like, oh, she finally found someone or whatever. And then that all kind of fell apart. And I think he was a little bit vilified for that.
I wonder, does that carry over into his roles? Because he's super gross in Beetlejuice, and just perfectly suited for this hapless, eccentric billionaire who really is just like a lost or wayward puppy dog.
Yeah, I mean, there's a punchable face element in there for sure. And I think he plays smarmy really well.
Check out our interview discussion on punchable face for a definition.
You're going to let that one go to air? I'm glad to hear it.
Or whatevermovies.com or wherever you podcasts.
Do you know, I mean, but come on, the turn was pretty good. I didn't get it. I wasn't ahead. I wasn't sleuthing for this movie. I just figured we were in good hands, or at least reliable hands, with Miranda. I thought she had the plan in place, and kinda she did. When Andy is freaking out and goes to her house and goes up the stairs again, and Miranda's like, go home. This isn't about you, dude. I was like, oh, thank goodness. But it wasn't that she had control. It was that she was not resigned, but she acknowledged, faced head on, the reality of the situation. So when Emily turned in that room where she was like, come on, I know, but you should know better than that. There is no way Emily is doing this to save me. Emily is doing this for Emily. And I was like, oh, you bitch. When she turned on Miranda and she was like, it's true. And it's me. And I was like, oh my goodness. And the fact that Miranda knew all that and faced it was Miranda still being part of the plot, or seeing everything that was happening, not being on the outside.
Right. And maybe this can be explained with the subtle existential crisis that Miranda was having. She's talking to Kenneth Branagh, who is such a cute little teddy bear in this movie. Like just so lovable and comforting, and you just want to hug him. And she says to him, I just don't know, is it my time?
Everyone knows that unexplainable it factor, that smile that lights up a room, that wow. Well, it doesn't happen by itself. There's chemistry behind the charisma. Colgate Optic White Pro Series toothpaste removes 15 years of deep-set stains when you brush twice daily for 2 weeks. How? The clinically proven formula is powered by Colgate's hydrogen peroxide complex. It works at the molecular level to gently dissolve stains deep within the enamel where your brush can't reach. It's proof that daily routine can be remarkable. That's the science of wow. Colgate Optic White.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. You know those friends who support your preference for podcasts over music on road trips? That's the energy State Farm brings to insurance. With over 19,000 local agents, they help you find the coverage that fits your needs, so you can spend less time worrying about insurance and more time enjoying the ride. Download the State Farm app or go online at statefarm.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And maybe she wasn't resigned. Maybe she was ready to go quietly into her very glamorous retirement, because she did know. She was aware of Emily's plot, and she is aware of Andy's biography. And maybe she was ready to kind of just enjoy that new era in her life. Maybe, I would say maybe she was ready, but then that would completely contradict her taking on that global communications role.
It's true. And what I think you're saying is maybe Devil Wears Prada 2 a little bit stakes light. I mean, they're toying with multi-million-dollar deals. Like, oh, he bought that magazine conglomerate, that host of magazines for me so I could run stuff. Thanks, baby. And like, oh, we had a good interview, and I believe in the journalistic content that Andy brings to Runway. And I think you're perfect, Miranda, to head that in perpetuity. I'll buy that magazine so you guys can do whatever you want. Like, these are huge moves that in fact require, I think, or should require, vast boardrooms of people to make these decisions, you know?
Months of diligence and business analysis and all that.
Right. A little bit stakes light.
So we've talked a lot about the maneuvering of Miranda and Andy and Emily, but really we're overlooking the biggest maneuverer, is that a word, of all, who of course is, in The Devil Wears Prada 2, the Tooch. Do you think that Nigel saw the entire chessboard?
What?
I kind of think that Nigel is the quiet, in the background, scheming for 20 years strategist, patiently awaiting his moment, and to be able to do it with the people that he loves. I think that's real class and aplomb.
Okay, this is fascinating to me. Her concession out of necessity to let him take on the speech to a closed room. I thought it was no more than the barest of concessions to Nigel, where they threw a dog a bone and let him have some measure of the control that eluded him or was stripped from him in the original movie. What makes you think that Nigel was on top of the plan the whole time?
Because at the end, he was the head of Runway, Miranda was the head of global communications, and Andy was the head of content or features or whatever. And he had basically designed it all to put himself in that role, because he revealed to Andy that he was the one who texted BJ Novak and his dad when they were in the limo.
You're talking about Irv's son, who was trying to strip the magazine of all of its funding.
Yes. So Irv hired Andy, but at Nigel's urging. So did Nigel see all of the dominoes fall? Did he know that by encouraging Irv to hire Andy, that she would bring goodness and stability to not only Runway, but to the entire conglomerate's portfolio? Now that I'm vocalizing this, I realize I'm giving the two children.
This is great.
Not only Pope credit, but like God-like credit.
I'm glad, because I really did think I might have overlooked this plot development just a little bit. I do recall now that he's the one who called Lutz, or no, he's the one who orchestrated the contact in the first place. All that is great. When these people are addressed, they have the secondary cast members and stuff, the new assistant and the new first assistant, the second assistant or whatever. They refer to the rest of the cast as the Prada Four, the original. And obviously we know Meryl Streep and Emily Blunt and Anne Hathaway, and also Stanley Tucci is included as a major component. Maybe they might have done it without him. They could have done it without him, but that wouldn't have made it as fun. He was absolutely the linchpin of the entire Runway organization. Both for Miranda and for Andy coming in, he saved her bacon multiple times, was the necessary component to keep kind of everyone in check. He was very aware, and the fact that he may have been quietly orchestrating behind the scenes as he was doing originally. He said he didn't go around, oh God, no, she knows about it, about the other job he was going to get, and he was super excited about it. Oh, she'll pay me back when the time is right. Are you sure about that? Well, no, but I can hope, or whatever. That's great that Nigel would have such agency and awareness that he would be the wizard behind the curtain, effectively. That makes me much happier than the idea like, well, the Tooch is an audience favorite, so let's throw him a bone. That's great.
No, we have to give his character a lot of credit in the Devil Wears Prada 2. Speaking of, did the supporting cast have a name? They were the Prada 2 group?
They were the New Blood, none of which were super effectual or influenced the plot a whole lot.
That's true. I think the coach group was very plot light. The Peter character, her love interest, had no real bearing on the story. I guess he was kind of cute, and their meet cute was, appropriately Andy awkward and stuff like that. Even so, some standouts and surprisingly lovable characters. Like, I remember the first assistant, Amari, because she was striking and gorgeous and a total update on the original Emily character. The second assistant brought so much heart to this. Aren't you stoked when he gets promoted?
Yes. And he can pee?
and that he can pee at will. And then the Jin character, Andy's assistant, shows real pluck and like industry in her role. And she's all glammed up at the end. I don't know why, but I was so happy for these newcomers despite, their bleak fashion future.
Well, is the future of that fashion so bleak? Andy cried multiple times in The Devil Wears Prada. And while what's-his-name couldn't pee even after Eventi, it was still funny. Like, we weren't like, oh, this is unacceptable workplace practices in 2026. Shame on you, Amari, or whatever. It was fine. It was part of the joke, so in that way it was lightened up. They were the bright hope of the future, and their personalities were allowed to shine, whereas Andy was suppressed at every turn. onion bagel? Come on. You know that carbs or whatever is like the main ingredient in corn chowder? Come on. Like her little spirit was being crushed at every turn. And Emily was always a hollow shell, just like waiting for the grievous injury that would allow her to carb load in the hospital bed. But these kids it was fun and it was good. It was, I think, the necessary update for the movie at large. I still can't get away from this idea that the kids were inconsequential, as maybe Andy and Emily were in the first one. Fashion is not run by kids. Like, the old guard still stands firm. Everyone with money is over 40. Andy and Emily are over 40. Miranda is ancient, but as are all designers, and Anna Wintour is like 80 or something. I don't think anyone was a cartoon character in The Devil Wears Prada 2 because they were older. You know, they were like 22 and 23 years old or something, Anne Hathaway and Emily Blunt in the first movie.
Wow.
Like, they were little bitty babies. And the only thing that belied Andy's youth or youthful approach to this character the second time around 2 decades later is the fact that Andy ran everywhere. She's the only person running in New York City in heels at all times. She's still sprinting as though Miranda's on her back, you know?
To use a momism, what would she say? I hurt just watching her.
Is that what she said?
Well, she's always just like, I'm exhausted just listening to you. There were 2 things that I really wanted coming out of The Devil Wears Prada 2. One, a designer handbag. I go in and out of this desire, but it was definitely renewed by The Devil Wears Prada 2. Don't you think in my mid 40s that I should have a designer handbag?
Don't you? You have fashion friends? You don't have one that'll hand one over to you, like, as a surprise at lunch?
Not the Fashion Week type that just have freebies to hand out. And 2, I want an Amari. I think that Or Whatever Movies could really benefit from an Amari telling us what we can and cannot say.
Oh, man. And another notable upgrade. I never considered, because she was so much more of my time, that Miranda Priestley would be a PR nightmare if she's allowed to be on camera or on the microphone for too long. The fact that Miranda was throttled by a real-time PR manager was kind of fascinating. It didn't matter because she said all the terrible things, and then just we got the throat clearing from Amari, who was like, no, not that. Don't say that. Okay, but you shouldn't have said that, which I appreciated.
I'm saying I feel you, Miranda. I don't know what is and is not appropriate. Apparently, we came from a very inappropriate, politically incorrect time, and I just don't know. I don't know how to navigate the waters of cancel culture.
I need a new button. Like the, what was the other button? The Staples button I wanted?
Poster quote.
Poster quote. Kids are stupid. This one, it's like, 'cause you're old. 'Cause you're old. Why don't you know? Because you're old.
It's not to say I don't want to know. It's just a little hard to keep up with the non-appropriation, appropriate things to say.
Aw.
5 stars. So disappointing. I felt like I've spent a lot of time in this review defending Devil Wears Prada, although
Really?
there is a lurking why in The Devil Wears Prada 2. I have to say.
Now, this isn't a movie where the universe needs to continue. This is everybody wants it. Meryl finally said yes. Let's do it. It was purely fan service, but at the highest level, in that they needed the correct in to justify bringing the characters back. Did I need The Devil Wears Prada 2? No. I'm glad we have it, but the necessary update after this long had me really skeptical for about the first third of the movie. I'm first and foremost a movie fan. I love the movies that I love. And when you mess with the formula, on an adult level, I acknowledge that you have to expand the story, that you have to change it up, that the stakes are different, that people are a little bit more mature. But I go back to Beverly Hills Cop 2, when Axel shows up in Beverly Hills after half a decade or whatever, Judge Reinhold tells him, it's a whole new ballgame out here, Axel. It's all politics now. And I'm like, no, I want it to be Beverly Hills Cop, the movie that I love. And so when the update happens, when we're switching to digital and print is dead and journalism is on the cusp and it's all about clickability and scrollability and the content is just glossed over in favor of the shiny images, I'm like, no, but it's absolutely true and necessary. I think is the why. Under the banner of Devil Wears Prada 2, it's obvious. Like, isn't it a happy medium? Keep going.
7 stars, really good, not better.
That's really good. It's different. It really is a different film from the first, even though all the pieces are in place. It's like chess, where you know what each piece is allowed to do, and these pieces don't change. Emily, Nigel, Andy, Miranda, they are all exactly the same piece with the same moves, but it's a different, more mature hand with a better availability of strategies for each.
5 stars, an unnecessary and artificial sequel.
Was that you?
There is a cynical side of me that believes that essentially The Devil Wears Prada 2 is a money grab. Now, and that's, again, it's cynical, but maybe that's a little bit of the why. But then I think about the Tooch and how deserving his character is of this, what could be ending to the franchise. And that makes me happy.
We waffled over who, not the main character, but who the stakes were for and who we wanted to triumph. Nigel was unexpected, the idea that he would come to the forefront. I never thought going in, this will totally be Nigel's movie, wait and see, you know? But the fact that I love Miranda in such a way that I was completely on her side. Do you know what it takes to turn me against Emily Blunt? To be like, oh, I hate you. You know what I mean? Any more than I could hate Meryl Streep. I was like, she's got it in the pocket. She knows what she's doing. You just wait. Miranda's going to save us all. Completely on her side. And the fact that Emily's betrayal hit me so hard and that Andy was still so earnest and trying to make everybody happy. He's like, you don't care about Miranda. And she's like, kinda I do. Like, I am willing to sacrifice everything so that Miranda Priestley, my horrid boss, from whom I walked away in the first movie, is so important to me. That her happiness and her not being crushed, you know. What did Justin Theroux, was it Justin Theroux who said, you know, she's had her time? And it's true. She is well past the retirement age for anybody in any industry. And I was like, no, it must happen. She must, you know, control Runway with an iron hand. And I don't care about magazines, about Runway, about digital content, about fashion. And yet I need to know that Miranda's over there doing her thing and holding it down so I don't have to think about it.
Yeah, maybe I need an Amari and you need a Miranda.
Sure. I kind of have that, not like in a mean way, but in a knows the score and knows what can and can't be done.
Yeah, so maybe this is just a litmus test for what we're looking for in partners. And that's our discussion on The Devil Wears Prada 2. 818-835-0473 or whatevermovies@gmail.com. And thanks for listening.
¿Hablas español?
Sprichst du Deutsch?
Kann du Norsk?
If you used Babbel, you would. Babbel's conversation-based techniques teaches you useful words and phrases to get you speaking quickly about the things you actually talk about in the real world, with lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts and voiced by real native speakers. Babbel is like having a private tutor in your pocket. Start speaking with Babbel today. Get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/Spotify. Spelled BABBEL.com/Spotify. Rules and restrictions may apply.
When Mother's Day means celebrating your mom, your wife, maybe even your daughter as a new mom, trust 1-800-Flowers to help you celebrate every important woman in your life. With double blooms from 1-800-Flowers, order 1 dozen roses and get another dozen for free. It's a simple way to give beautifully, with colorful blooms that make Mother's Day feel meaningful. For every mom you're celebrating, order with confidence and get double blooms at 1-800-Flowers.com/Spotify. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/Spotify.
Electricast.